New York's Attorney General is trying to wipe out the National Rifle Association, accusing the NRA of seriously mismanaging funds and suing to dissolve the gun rights group. The NRA filed a countersuit saying she's going after them for political reasons. NRA supporters call the timing of the Attorney General's action very suspicious, coming so close to a presidential election where the gun rights battle could be bigger than ever. Paul Strand has that story.
Just a few minutes ago, my office filed a lawsuit against the National Rifle Association to dissolve the organization in its entirety.
New York AG Letitia James came out firing, charging the NRA with serious mismanagement that wasted and misspent tens of millions of donors' dollars.
For personal use by senior leadership, to award contracts to the financial gain of close associates and family.
This isn't the first time James has personally gone after the gun rights group.
She essentially questioned the tax status of the NRA, said that they claim to be a charity group, but they're actually a quote, terrorist group. So obviously there's certainly a lot of history involved there.
John Lott, author of Gun Control Myths, calls it politically motivated.
It's just a real abuse of power for an attorney general to single out somebody to go after a nonprofit because she disagrees with them politically.
Gutowski points out the timing could be designed to sabotage the NRA's plan to spend tens of millions of dollars on the 2020 election.
During the press conference, the AG was asked whether she would try to freeze their assets, and she said yes. So if she's able to do that, I mean, clearly they won't be able to spend those millions of dollars.
And it's such a crucial time for the issue. Lott believes the political parties are so split on gun control, the gun owners will realize their Second Amendment rights may seriously be on the line.
I think this election will determine the long-run future for whether or not people are able to privately own guns to protect themselves and their families.
All this comes as gun sales are soaring to record levels, with the public panicked over the pandemic, riots, looting, and efforts to defund the police. It's causing 1,000 people a day to join the NRA over the last 2 months. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
Thanks, Paul. Gordon, this is unprecedented legal action.
It's not entirely unprecedented. Some prosecutors in Texas went after a House of Representatives majority leader and managed to get a conviction before a federal circuit court overturned it. But in the aftermath of all that litigation, he's out of power. He ultimately won the legal case, but they were effective in removing a political voice. And so that's exactly what the Attorney General of New York is doing. This is politics, and it's hardcore politics. It's weaponizing law enforcement in order to take out a political opponent. That is what is going on. And they're using the excuse of what leadership did, and I'm not in defense at all of what they did. I applaud Oliver North for bringing it to light. But that is something that the NRA has to deal with internally. If law enforcement wants to go after that leadership for their actions, okay. But to take on the entire NRA and say we're going to dissolve it and we're going to freeze their assets and their funds because of mistakes on the part of leadership, that's a reach too far. And the intent, and it's a very clear intent, is let's tie up all their assets so they're on the sidelines in the 2020 election. This is incredible to me. This is not an America I want to live in. I don't understand why there isn't an outrage over this, but there needs to be. My hope is that it actually causes a backlash, and it causes people to really wake up and realize your civil liberties are at risk here. If they're successful in shutting down the NRA, labeling it as a terrorist group, seizing all their assets and freezing them and putting them on the sidelines during an election cycle, well then guess what? They're going to come after everyone they disagree with. And they're going to try to use the same tactics. For law enforcement, there are all kinds of weapons they have that were all passed to stop organized crime or drug trafficking or these other things. Those same statutes can be used against